Good morning. As the exact cause of death for the once most wanted fugitive billionaire Yoo Byung-hun remains a mystery, more questions linger in the air. Officials say they'll have the results by Friday. Bad weather forces a Taiwan passenger plane to a failed emergency landing. 54 passengers on board, the majority have been reported dead. Some of the necessities for a Korean summer, and no, we're not looking at sunscreens. And the Boryeong Mud Festival is one of those events not to miss. Joey Mercadante takes you there on Korea Today, Thursday, July 24th, 2014.
From Arirang News, this is Korea Today.
And good morning. Thank you for joining us on Korea Today. I'm Kim Young alongside Kim Min-jung and Jin Ju.
Good morning. Today we start with some unfortunate news that broke out just yesterday night. Only a week has passed since the downing of the Malaysia Airlines Flight 17, but another passenger plane, this time in Taiwan, has crashed, killing dozens of people.
That's right. A lot of people around the world are saying, uh-oh, not again. We are going to get the details with our Eunice Kim, who joins us later on in the show. But first, here at home, still more questions than answers surrounding the death of Yoo Byung-hun, the de facto owner of the ill-fated Sewol-ho ferry, as the investigation continues into the mysterious circumstances. Suncheon police have combed through 4 locations that the fugitive billionaire was believed to have taken refuge in, including his vacation home in Suncheon, Jeollanam-do province, for any evidence that might hold the key to how the 73-year-old had died. In the meantime, the results of his autopsy are set to be released as early as this Thursday evening or Friday morning by the National Forensic Service that is now conducting the toxicology test to determine the exact cause of the death. Amid mounting criticism against police and prosecutors for their failure to capture Yoo alive and hold him accountable for the ferry disaster, the head of the police department at Jeollanam-do province has been released from his post.
A case of foot and mouth disease at a pig farm in Uiseong County in the Gyeongsang-Buk-do province has been confirmed. Following a report of some 200 pigs displaying symptoms of FMD on Wednesday, positive test results were confirmed earlier today. Now, this is the first time in over 3 years since the last confirmed case of FMD in April 2011. The pigs testing positive have been culled and the farm has been quarantined while undergoing a disinfection process. Distribution channels of the pigs in question are being investigated with no problems thus far, with animals and farms within a 3-kilometer radius being tested and vaccinated. Korea was declared free from FMD at a general meeting of the World Organization for Animal Health just 2 months ago.
The Korean government has called on Japan to come up with concrete measures to deal with the thorny issue of sexual slavery before and during World War II. In the third meeting between the general directors from Seoul and Tokyo's foreign ministries, Korea's point man for the talks, Lee Sang-deok, pressured Tokyo to show its commitment to the 1993 apology made to the women who were forced to serve as sex slaves for the Japanese army. The two sides used the meeting to discuss a host of other bilateral issues. Seoul officials expressed regret over anti-Korean demonstrations held in Japan, urging Tokyo to come up with proactive legal and systematic measures to prevent such incidents, while Japan asked Korea to lift its import ban placed on fishery products from 8 Japanese prefectures. Tokyo also denied reports that its Prime Minister Shinzo Abe is planning to visit North Korea in August. The two sides agreed to meet again next month.
As Min-jung mentioned earlier, today marks the 100th day since the Sewol-ho ferry sank and capsized and sank off the southwest coast of Korea, leaving 304 people dead or missing. More than 80% of the victims were high school students on their way for a field trip to Jeju-do Island. Now, out of the 325 students on board that ill-fated ship on April 16th, only 75 survived, and they have returned to school about a month ago. And Arirang News' Song Ji-sun joins us to tell about their stories. So, Ji-sun, how is the school supporting these students to get back to their normal lives and provide the help that they need?
Well, it's been 100 days, but for the families of the victims and the students who survived this tragic accident, it's been like 100 years, according to some witnesses. And of course, this emotional burden has been too much, and they have been going through therapies and returned to school a month ago. And the Educational Office of Gyeonggi-do and the government has been taking measures to support them. Let's take a look at how they've been doing at school.
The road to recovery for the 75 surviving students of the Sewol-ho ferry tragedy continues. After the disaster on April 16th, the students were treated at the same hospital and have been going through group therapy sessions together since. And 1 month ago, on June 25th, they returned to classes at Danwon High School. Before the tragedy, the class of 2016 was made up of 10 different classes, which has now been reduced to 4. They now study in makeshift classrooms that were originally used as music or art rooms. The homerooms they used before April 16th have been left intact, preserved to honor the memories of those that perished. Their curriculum is different as well. Therapy sessions are held throughout the week, and 10 counselors are available on campus to help the students if and when they need it. To ensure privacy, media outlets are banned from filming the students or their classes.
We do not want any more attention from the public or media. Please refrain from filming or interviewing us.
But some are speaking out, urging people to remember their friends and to put pressure on the government to carry out a thorough investigation of the disaster.
Please do not forget April 16, 2014, the moment you forget about the Sewol-ho ferry disaster. That's when our futures vanish.
While the junior class at Danwon High School was the most affected by the tragedy, it's touched the lives of everyone there. For senior students prepping for college, it's been hard to study. To provide support, the National Assembly's Educational Committee approved a bill last week that expands the quota for college admissions for those affected by the disaster. Some 500 Danwon High School seniors and the siblings of the victims will be eligible.
One of the reasons the seniors could not focus on their studies because their teachers did not return from the trip because of the disaster. Now, along with 250 students, the juniors, 12 teachers died in the accident and 2 are still unaccounted for. So they had to wait until replacement teachers came to school for those subjects. And of course, we're still looking for those 2 teachers who are along the 10 missing, still accounted for.
So a total of 14 teachers and faculty members were sacrificed in this disaster. How about Danwon High School students? How many are there still missing?
Well, exactly half of the 10 people who are still missing are Danwon High School students. And of course, the rescue team is enhancing their efforts to search for those still missing. They have changed their method of search and recovery operation, that is. Now they are taking samples of water from the various areas within the ferry and analyzing it to determine whether there are any anomalies that would suggest a victim is nearby. They've also changed the way of diving, which is nitrox. They're inhaling more oxygen than there is nitrogen, so they can stay more time underwater and expand their time of search within the ferry.
And as the parent representative mentioned in your report, the most important thing would be to keep the victims in our minds and honor their memories, right?
Right. I actually have been to the main memorial altar in Ansan a few days ago, and it was pretty empty. There were very few people visiting the site. There were like 20,000 people waiting outside the altar to pay their tributes and to pay consolations, but there are not as many people visiting the sites these days. And some sites set in like city offices, like city halls, are now removed because of maintenance reasons and because there are not many visitors as there has been before. And now they are still going to keep the main altar until the last missing person is recovered from the site.
Right. I believe that the best way to support these survivors and victims' families would be to keep those their friends and their family members in our memories, and to make sure that the proper measures are put in place to prevent any similar accidents from happening again in the future. Thank you, Jason, for that report today.
Thank you.
Good morning. It's time to run through the front pages of your newspapers. As you just heard shortly ago, today marks the 100th day since the Sewol-ho ferry disaster, and this is the leading story on most of the local papers this morning. So let's take a look at it first on 중앙일보. Now, the headline reads, waiting for the return of the 10 still missing. Search efforts were still underway yesterday in Jeju-do of Jeollanam-do province. 10 bodies remain trapped underwater, and these are flags flapping in the wind, calling for the recovery of those 10 precious lives. Also, meantime, on Gyeongyang-Shinmun, another headline here. Almost the entire front page has been devoted to commemorating and remembering the tragedy. I just want to briefly mention this painting here. The people here in black silhouettes, they represent the families of the victims as well as some of the surviving victims themselves, or as the paper says, maybe our entire nation as a whole. And in the back there is the Sewol-ho ferry, vaguely in a pale yellow, faded out to a ghostly image. Meanwhile, over on 조선일보, there's another story here in the center regarding the Sewol-ho. And the header says, 100 days on, their sacrifice brings awakening on safety. Now, if you take a look at the sub-headline here, it says that small changes have been noticeable in various parts of our society. This is an article of hope, saying that there are signs of improvement and development in Korea since the incident. More people today are putting more emphasis on safety compared to previous times. And the general sense of insensitivity towards safety, or 안전불감증 as they call it here, has also begun to fade away to a certain extent. Now, a lot more, of course, still has to be done to fully enlighten the country on safety measures, but this report seems to be recognizing and giving at least some credit to the changes being slowly made amongst all of the other mostly critical stories in the papers. And let's switch subjects now to go on to the Korea Economic Daily for a look at this story here. This one is on software software development, and the header says software development as mandatory subject from middle school starting next year. The government yesterday announced policy measures intended to more fully integrate software training into the daily lives of Koreans, including making it a mandatory subject in selected middle schools starting next year. The Education Ministry said the classes will begin with 7th graders in 72 elementary schools, and the government will select these schools in the second half of the year and then expand on to at least 130 schools for the following year. The paper also cites President Park Geun-hye's remarks from yesterday during a meeting with software developers and relevant government officials. She called for the strengthening of training in software development, saying that the future of the country's IT industry depends on it. Now, our last story on the Mail Business newspaper. Let's take a look at this one here on the side. This one is about banks in other Asian countries moving into Korea, and it's called Leading Asian Banks Advance into the Korean Market. And as a subheadline here notes, the biggest banks from the Philippines and India, for instance, are accelerating their push to tap into Korea. With growing inter-regional exchanges, large financial firms in the region have begun to show interest in Korea as one of their overseas bases. In fact, the Philippines' #1 bank, BDO Union Bank, will open its flagship office in Seoul on July 30th. And India's largest bank, in the meantime, State Bank of India, has also obtained interim approval from Korea's financial authorities to convert its office here into an official branch this coming May. And that was a look at your newspaper headlines for this Thursday. Now, coming up are the stock numbers from Wednesday.
It's been raining for 2 consecutive days here in Seoul. Be careful what you wish for, right?
Exactly. Not much rain yesterday, but overnight it really started pouring, and it is expected to continue throughout the day today. We'll get a check on your weather report with Chun Sung-cho. She joins us from Seochogu.
Good morning to you, Sung-cho.
Good morning, guys. It's raining cats and dogs outside here. The central region of the country is receiving the most rainfall due to the monsoonal front. Some areas with 10 to 20 millimeters of downpour an hour. This rain will lose its power after releasing up to 60 millimeters and move on to the southern regions later in the afternoon. However, tomorrow is when things get more intense. Typhoon Matmo off the southeastern coast of China, though it won't pass Korea directly, will send in a lot of moisture, fueling even more rain into our monsoon system with thunder and lightning. The areas affected most will be the central regions again, some areas receiving over 100 millimeters of downpour. But by Sunday, we will get the sun back, so you might as well enjoy this cooler weather for now. And with that said, let's take a closer look at today's temperature readings. People are enjoying the cooler temperatures over here in Seoul, being the coolest with midday highs of 28. Daegu is prominently hot today at 34, and the rest of the cities hover around 30. This is all for me with the weather forecast. Back to you, Minjang.
Now, as we mentioned earlier in our show, a passenger plane crashed in Taiwan, killing dozens of passengers. Let's get the latest on this story and other global headlines with our Eunice Kim, who joins us from the News Center. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Minjung.
Eunice, unlike the downing of the Malaysian jetliner, now this one seems to be weather-related.
Well, some people think so. One local county fire spokesperson said there were thunderstorm conditions during that crash, and indeed, earlier on Wednesday, Taiwan was being battered by strong winds and rain from Typhoon Matmo. But the land warning had been lifted around 5:30 p.m. local time, this according to the BBC, which was around the time the plane had taken off. The TransAsia Airways turboprop passenger plane holding 54 passengers and 4 crew members did make a failed attempt at an emergency landing and crashed in Taiwan's Penghu Islands. 47 people are reported to have been killed. The plane was flying from the southwestern city of Kaohsiung to the islands off the west coast and had been delayed due to bad weather brought on by that weather system. Now, several local TV stations quoted witnesses saying the plane was on fire before it crashed. The Taiwanese government says 11 passengers survived the crash and have been taken to local hospitals. The first 40 bodies of the victims who died in the Malaysia jetliner disaster have arrived in the Netherlands, a country deep in mourning on Wednesday. Churches around the country rang their bells for 5 minutes before the planes carrying the bodies landed. Flags were flown at half-staff for the 298 victims, nearly 200 of whom were Dutch. At Eindhoven Air Base, Prime Minister Mark Rutte, members of the Dutch royal family, and hundreds of victims' relatives watched as the wooden coffins, one by one, were placed into a fleet of waiting hearses. A military police escort traveled with the fleet to the city of Hilversum, where forensic experts were on standby to begin the long process of identifying the remains that could take months. It was a solemn and emotional procession as rows of people came out to pay their respects and mourn of their untimely death.
And the world is mourning the deaths, and the fighting continues on the ground in Ukraine. Now we have another developing conflict, Israel versus Hamas. Now the UN Human Rights Council is stepping in, saying it will look into whether Israel's offensive on Gaza could amount to war crimes.
That's right. The UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Navi Pillay, in Geneva said Israel has not been doing enough to protect civilians, as hundreds of non-combatant Palestinians have been killed in the past 2 weeks. She said there is a strong possibility that Israel is violating international law, citing the razing of homes and the killing of children. Pillay also condemned Hamas and other armed Palestinian groups for their indiscriminate attacks on Israel. This as the fighting continues in fierce battles in southern Gaza, the death toll rising to at least 695 Palestinians now and 34 Israelis. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry in Jerusalem announced signs of progress in ceasefire talks, but Hamas leaders underlined one absolute condition: the lifting of Egyptian-Israeli blockades of the Gaza Strip. And with that, we'll wrap your look at the global headlines we are following this morning.
And coming up soon, a summer event that is one of the most highly anticipated in Korea, the Boryeong Mud Festival, will take you on location to this popular mud festival, as well as a coastal biking course in the area, all on Korea Discovered.
Once a state religion, Buddhism is one of the most commonly practiced religions here in Korea. And our Im Yoon-hee joins us with a Buddhism exhibition. Good morning.
Good morning, Young. So recently I did visit the Central Buddhist Museum located here in the heart of Seoul. And now Buddhism has long been integrated here in the history of Korea, not only as a religion, but also as a source of history. Here's how.
Buddhism, a religion based on the life of Siddhartha Gautama, also known as Buddha, whose millions of followers strive to reach the state of ultimate enlightenment and perfect peace. Nirvana. It's an end to the repeating cycle of birth, life, and death, and upon cremation, those who have reached nirvana produce a sarira, including Buddha, who his many followers believe is preserved through these sacred relics.
When Buddha first passed away, his body was referred to as a sarira. As Buddhism spread, sarira also extended to include any precious relics, usually referring to these small pearl-like objects found in Buddha's ashes, as well as the ashes of other individuals who have reached nirvana.
The sarira was placed in a sacred case, carefully crafted to hold the precious remnant. And it's the beautifully handmade case that is now the most valuable. This process of enshrining the sarira became a sacred ritual. And 500 years after Buddha's death, a format for a special statue, called a pagoda, to hold the box was established. Along with the sarira, inside each case was stored historical artifacts, like jade jewelry, talisman, and other riches of the time. The result is a pocket of time, with priceless history preserved in the layers and layers of each reliquary.
After Buddha's death and cremation, his sariras were placed in special containers that had layers of gold, silver, bronze, and iron. This tradition of using the four materials in layers became a tradition in Buddhism. The sarira container is interesting because the smallest container, the one closest to the sarira, is actually made out of glass. And this is because at that time, during the Shilla dynasty, glass was extremely rare in Korea. And when it was first imported from the West, from places like Arabia and Turkey, green glass was considered especially precious.
Sarira worship has taken on many different forms through the many years. But with each protected sarira, also comes a protected piece of history as well. Millions of people around the world continue to follow the example set by the life and death of Buddha.
You get a sense of serenity every time you do visit a Buddhist temple, and it seems that this exhibition reflects that, the serenity around nature, right? But this seems to be a real fun exhibition. Well, not that like fun as in haha, but a very interesting exhibition for kids as well, and everyone else though.
They actually are also offering an exhibition, or part of the exhibition, for children and adolescents. And so I know you have kids, and so this is not something that would immediately spark the interest of a lot of parents, because it does tend to be a little bit on the more heavy side in terms of meaning and understanding. But they do offer a seminar for them to take the kids around to try to help kids get interested in this kind of exhibition.
Okay, I noticed that this exhibition the museum is actually in Jeju-do, and that area is known for Buddhist Buddhism influences.
Right, so it's smack dab in the middle of a very heavily influenced Buddhism neighborhood. And so there are things like the Chogyesa, which is a temple in Seoul. There are also things like stores that sell any, Buddhism clothing or Buddhism, just artifacts. And there are also the library and meditation centers there as well. And so I don't know if you remember, but a while ago I brought in the Lotus Lantern Festival earlier this year, right? So that also takes place in that area. And so a very interesting area for people who are interested or even follow Buddhism, and for people who just want to learn about it as well.
You forgot to mention one thing, though.
What is that?
The temple food restaurants in that area are fantastic.
Are supposed to be delicious.
All right, thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure.
All right, stay with us on Korea Today because we have some sun-related products for you, some necessities for the summer. Now, it's not sunscreen, but they're clothing items as well as sunglasses that you may want to get a look at because they're in style, and that is the trend. We'll find out more about that on K-Style.
Time now for news sum up. Singer, or bombshell, I'd like to call her, HyunA's teaser video has been released online, and it's all the craze these days.
That's right. It's for her new single titled Red, and her music videos are usually very racy, so expectations are high, especially for male fans out there for her new music video.
That's right. Let's check in with our Seo Mi-sorang for more on this. Good morning to you.
Good morning, guys. I completely agree. Now, whenever we hear HyunA's name nowadays, we've come to expect something sexy and something that pushes the boundaries. This time it's no different. Let's first have a look at the teaser photos. Very sexy, very seductive, not a lot of clothing, but that's not unusual for HyunA. Let's move on to the video. We're seeing a lot of red, a monkey, and a banana. I'm not sure how it's all going to fit together to make a story, so we'll just have to wait until the full music video comes out. Now let's move on to our next story. So the video of HyunA is getting a lot of clicks, but another video that's going viral is Sotnikova's mistakes. Sotnikova is of course the Russian figure skater and the reigning Olympic champion. Unfortunately for Sotnikova, people do like to watch others fall, especially when they're the reigning world champions. Meanwhile, the Seoul city government is looking at making the Deoksugun-gil or Doldam-gil a possibly pedestrian-only footpath during lunch times on weekdays. Their argument is that this will make it easier for people in the downtown area to hang out there during their lunch break. A bit north of the Doldam-gil is the Gyeongbokgung Palace. Like many other attractions this summer, the Gyeongbokgung Palace will open at nighttime as well, for 13 days starting next Wednesday. Now on to our last issue, electric bikes. Have you guys all heard of electric bicycles? They're basically your normal bicycles but with electric motors attached to them. They're different from motorbikes though because they're usually smaller and you can still use the pedals to move forward. Currently, they're legally classified alongside scooters and motorbikes, meaning that you need a license to drive them. But to encourage more people to use these electric bicycles, the government is now looking at grouping them together with normal bicycles. This will mean two things. First, no license required, and two, you'll be able to ride them on the special bicycle lanes. There are, of course, safety limits, so only bicycles with top speeds under 25 kilometers per hour and those weighing under 30 kilograms can be used on these bicycle-only lanes. So existing cyclists won't have too much to worry about regarding safety and sharing the special lanes. And with that, it's a wrap up for today's edition of your Daily News Sum Up.
Now we're going to be finding out about a festival which actually carries quite a history and is known as the festival, that one event that you're not supposed to miss during the summer. And it gives you an excuse to get yourself dirty and throw mud at each other.
That's right. Mudslinging is allowed at this festival,
right?
right?
It's actually required.
No, it is required.
And Joey Mercadante had a chance to check it out for himself. Good morning, Joey.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I don't know if you remember, but my first ever report for Arirang TV was actually in Boryeong.
That's right.
It was winter then, so
Wow.
I didn't get a chance to check out the Mud Festival. But now that it's summer, I got a proper introduction to the festival. And that's not all. I also got to do a really cool biking course as well. So it was really great to be back in Boryeong. I had a lot of fun, and I can't wait to share it with you. Now that the summer is in full season, the vacationing spots are filled with people. And the place to be is right here on the west coast of Korea. This is Boryeong City in Chungcheongnam-do.
Wow.
Over 150,000 visitors flock there during summer, and I got to join them.
It's like spring break, you know?
Yep. My travel started right here with a fun tour package put together by the Culture Ministry and Korail, the Leisure and Sports, or the Sports Train, and its biking course. Check out all these bike enthusiasts. They're headed to the West Sea for a bike tour, and I'm going with them. Looks like a lot of fun. I'm really excited.
Some expensive bicycles.
The Le Sports Train was a blessing for cycling enthusiasts. It had a separate car for bikes, so people could bring their own bikes along and store them without any hassle.
If I go on a bike trip alone, it's a burden taking a car just to load my bicycle. This Le Sports Train is convenient because they store your bike, and it's fun because you get to go with a lot of people.
The train ride was about 3 hours, and then we arrived in Boryeong, the summer hotspot of the West Sea. So now that I've arrived here at Daecheon, the cool thing is that even though I don't have a bike, I can rent one.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right. Passengers on the Le Sports Train can rent a bicycle for less than $5.
We're riding on a coastal road, so it'll be fun and refreshing. Plus, the Mud Festival started, so there'll be a lot to see.
And if you're not a super athlete, or you're wearing slippers like I am, don't worry. There are 4 courses for novices to advanced riders.
You look better than them. It's okay. Wear your slippers.
So just imagine you're cruising along the coast with the ocean wind blowing and a great view of the West Sea. I mean, what could be better on a summer day like that?
Look at those crabs.
And look at the seagull trying to get those crabs.
Trying to get some feed on those crabs.
And now, we talked about the Mud Festival earlier. Well, that's where I was headed, the Boryeong Mud Festival. It's in its 17th year, and it just keeps getting better and better every year.
I don't know. I don't know if I can do that.
The 10-day festival started as a way to promote the quality mud at the Boryeong Mud Flats, and now it's just become this huge event for everyone in Korea.
So I finally arrived here at the Boryeong Mud Festival. This is the part of the day I've been waiting for all day. Oh! I'm ready!
So this mud is supposed to be very enriching for the skin, and everyone gets to take advantage of that. The Mud Festival takes place at Daecheon Beach, and there's way too many things to do. Mud wrestling, mud fights, and if you've been really bad, mud jail.
Rambo there.
Kind of feels good to be really dirty. The mud is warm. Feels nice on my skin. And now I feel like I blend in with the people here. I am one of them.
You need a shower there.
So this is better than a water slide. This is a mud slide, and I think all the festival goers go down at least once. It's just one of those things that you gotta try when you're at the festival. And of course, there are showers.
And dances.
Just getting dirty for no reason, no logical reason whatsoever, and that's okay with me.
Have you ever tried something like this before?
Never.
First time?
Yes.
Boryeong Mud Festival! Yeah!
Body painting was next on my to-do list, and this is where you get painted pretty with colored mud.
예쁘게 해주세요.
Okay. Pretty please.
Is it expensive to get that done, or?
No.
Couple of thousands.
Korea. All right. This is actually included with general
What's the best festival that you had to go to?
Just seeing everybody, people from all around the world and
All
locals.
ages.
There's your shower right there.
Yeah. Whoa! Okay, the mud is great, but to be honest, the best part is the sea, and I'm ready to take a dip. Let's go!
Was the water cold?
No, surprisingly not cold.
Come in, the water's beautiful!
Nice.
Man must be upset.
So after the bike ride and running around in the mud, it's chow time. Of course, we went for the Boryeong specialty, clams. These clam restaurants are all lined up along the Daecheon beach. They serve clams fresh from the West Sea mudflats, as well as other delicious seafood. And here's the best part, it's all you can eat.
The clams are tender and fresh, so they're incredibly tasty. I also love that you get unlimited reorders, so you can grill all the clams you want to.
An assortment of clams grilled to perfection at your table. It's amazing. And oh yes, they taste amazing too. So fresh and juicy, full of flavor.
They're so big too.
Right next to the source of it all.
It just tastes so fresh. This is not seafood you buy in the frozen food section. This is the real stuff. And it's delicious.
There is no better way to work up your appetite for those delicious grilled clams than biking down the West Sea Coastal Road and letting loose at the Boryeong Mud Festival. It's a trip worth taking as soon as possible, so take advantage while it lasts.
And some fireworks to cap off the evening, huh? That sounds like a perfect day and night out. Now, Boryeong is right on the water, so the clams must be really fresh.
Yeah, they are. I mean, I think we could have done a whole 6-minute report on just the food and how much I enjoyed the food. Yeah, they are. They're fantastic. And what's really great about Boryeong is that because it's such a tourist hotspot, the government has regulated the price of the grilled clams so that, you know, people are getting a fair price. Tourists are getting a fair price when they go there. So for like a group of, depending on your group, it's anywhere between 40,000 won to 70,000 won for the group.
That's really cheap.
It's free refills, like unlimited refills.
So all you
Can they make money off of that?
Exactly, that's what I'm
Don't
thinking.
make money out of drinking.
Well, the sea, it's quite a big sea, and there's quite a lot of seafood in there. So.
Right, and we're just about like 1 week into the festival, but I heard that it has already attracted 150,000 visitors. And what part did you like the best?
I think I liked the sense of friendship among fellow event goers. I met a lot of people from different parts of Korea, foreigners teaching in sort of obscure locations in Korea. That was really nice. And then in terms of the Mud Festival itself, I mean, it's just getting bigger and bigger every year. This year there were over 60 mud-related events to take part in. Some are free, some you have to pay for. And Young, just to answer your question earlier, 10,000 won gets you everything, including that body painting.
Just an all-day pass.
An all-day pass, yeah. And if for more information, just visit the Boryeong website, which is in English and in Korean.
With all the mud around their body, it was hard to tell whether it was a Korean person or a foreigner. It really brings the whole crowd together.
Yeah, I agree.
That's one of the fun aspects of it. But going over there, I know you had a bunch of clams and to pack on those calories, but you burned off those calories beforehand. Did the bike riding deal along the West Sea and the West Coast. I mean, how was that?
It was great. The view is fantastic. I love the view along the West Coast. Just a great, you know, and yeah, you get to burn some calories and just a great ride. The wind was blowing. It was perfect weather. And what's really neat about this particular train is that the front end of the train is all dedicated to
it's a bicycle car.
Yeah, to holding your bikes. Yeah. And not only that, because it's a 3-hour ride, along the way they do like bicycle service, like they check your bike.
Oh, okay.
And then they give you a short safety course as well.
Wow. So where can we get the information about this transportation we can take to
you want to visit the Korail homepage. This is where all of it is at. And on the Korail homepage, there is also information on it's called the Boryeong Mud Festival train, or something along those lines. Fun at the Boryeong Mud Festival train. And this train is basically running once every day during the festival period. And there is also a package deal that you can get. So you get the train ticket at a discounted price. You get free admission to the Mud Festival, along with a city bus tour, all included in this train package. And all you got to do is go to the Korail website and book your ticket online.
Right. So a lot to do and see in Boryeong. You must need more than just one day to do all that. So if you want to stay over in Boryeong, how is the accommodation situation there?
There are a lot of accommodations, and there are a lot of motels along the Daecheon beach strip. If you're looking for a little bit more adventure, I would recommend camping. There are designated camping zones on the beach that will run you about $10 to $30 US. And then if you're looking for something a little bit more fancy, there is a resort called the HyunA Resort. And if you get a room there, they also give you complimentary tickets to an optical illusion museum nearby. And not only that, but like right across from the resort is a water park. The JFK Daecheon Water Park. And right now, during the Boryeong Festival, the tickets are 70% off.
Wow, well, that sounds great, but who needs a water park when you have a mud park?
Well, you're going to have to wash off eventually. So
okay, you can double dip.
You can double dip, yes. Absolutely.
Right. Sounds like fun.
Yeah, it was.
All right, thank you very much, Joey, for that report.
You're very welcome. See you next week.
See you next week.
And a good Thursday morning to you all as we kick things off in the LPGA with a major event taking place starting Thursday U.S. time. And that event, the LPGA International Crown, where 8 nations will face off against each other for the top prize. And of course, for Team Korea, who's seeded second in this tournament, will face off against Australia to kick off the event. And the team will be led by Park In-bi, Ryu So-yeon, Chen Ha-yeon, and Kim In-kyung. Of course, the big matchup will be against Team USA, led by top-ranked Stacey Lewis. Meanwhile, with the event taking place at Caves Valley Golf Course in Maryland, many consider this a preview of what to expect in the 2016 Summer Olympics. And now moving over to the South Korean national football team. With the team without a head coach just yet, the KFA might have to speed up their process after the 2018 World Cup qualification schedule was released on Wednesday. The AFC releasing their qualification round schedule, considering Korea will get a bye to the second round. Their first set of matches will take place on June 11th and 16th of 2015. At the same time, the World Cup qualification round will be merged with the 2019 Asian Cup qualification, as the nations who go past the second round of qualification will automatically be placed in the 2019 Asian Cup. And now shifting gears to the South Korean national ice hockey team this time, who's still looking to qualify for the 2018 Pyeongchang Winter Olympics. And on Wednesday, they've got themselves a new head coach with quite an experience in the sport. And his name, Jim Peck, 47-year-old former NHL defenseman who became the first player of Korean descent to play hockey in the NHL after being drafted by the Pittsburgh Penguins. He also did play 48 games with the Canadian national team and will now lead the South Korean national team. Now, Peck signed a 4-year deal and will also work as the executive director of the men's team. And now finishing things off with some Wednesday night KBO action, we had the Tucson Bears and the SK Wyverns rain out for the second straight night, but the NC Dinos ended Hanwha's winning streak, beating them 8-4, with the Samsung Lions beating the Lotte Giants in a slugfest 15-12. Meanwhile, let's take a look at the Kia Tigers take on the LG Twins. And of course, going into the game here, right from the get-go, bottom of the first inning, Na Ji-won at bat and deep to center field, gone a 2-run shot, and Kia Tigers have an early 2-0 lead. Second inning, more from Kia, this time Kim Joo-chun with an RBI single to center field, and it's 3-0 Kia. But check this out, fourth inning, bases loaded for Chae Kyung-char, and there it goes to deep left field, a grand slam, and LG has the lead 4-3. But we're not done yet. Chung Sung-hoon this time. This one, an RBI double to right center field, makes it 5-3. Next play, Brad Snyder at bat with 2-man on and going, gone, a 3-run shot, and it's 8-3. But we're not done yet. Lee Byung-gyu this time, and there it goes. That one, a solo shot to center field, capping a 9-run fourth inning. And after all that, the LG Twins would hang on to win this game 11-8, your final score. And that's going to wrap it up for me. This has been SJ. Have a great rest of the day, and see you guys again for your sports needs.
top when it comes to it items this summer. This is the season we tend to show more skin, but we still need a little cover, come rain or shine. So what are some of these functional fashion items we're talking about?
It's good to wear sunglasses when the UV rays strain your eyes.
Hats shade you from UV rays, but they also make a fashion statement that stands out.
Right off the bat, sunglasses and hats come to mind, and this season the trend is leaning towards snapbacks.
Snapbacks are hot right now. Snapbacks are caps with flat, straight brims and adjustable backs. They're popular among the younger generation who want style and UV protections.
The designs are endless, and fashionistas have already been touting this look around for months. And another hat trend for the summer is floppy hats. Floppy hats have large brims that give you full coverage against the sun. They're quite stylish and should be your #1 item to purchase this season. Sunglasses are also a must-have fashion accessory for the summer. They'll protect your peepers from the harsh rays of the sun. Now, what style of sunglasses are hot this season? The mirrored glasses are back. They're the shades with reflective, flash-coated lenses. It adds an accent of rainbow color to your summer look. Just a little bit of accessorizing can make all the difference. Look fashionable with these functional it items this summer season.
Yes, right. The weather is really fickle these days. Sunny one day and rainy the next. So you need sunglasses, hats, rain boots, umbrellas. You need them all.
That's right.
Jennifer Kim has them all for us this morning.
We've got
Good
everything
morning.
out here, the trending
That's right.
items in Korea. So we've got all the essentials for you. If you're confused about what the current trend is here in Korea, we're going to get you prepared for that.
That's right. Let's start with the rain boots. This morning it's raining outside, cats and dogs.
I really wanted to have this on my way to work today.
That's right. Okay, so let's start with the rain boots. We have some long ones, mid-sized ones, and then some short ones. Tell us.
So they're not just regular boots, but they're actually rain boots or Wellingtons, as some countries call them, because they're waterproof. And these are so gorgeous. They come in vibrant colors and pastel tones this season, and they really brighten up your dreary look when it's raining and you feel like you're just a bit boring.
Let me try them on.
Yeah, so there are different ways to style them for your legs because you're so skinny.
Right, I'm on the skinnier side, I suppose, when as far as my legs are concerned. Which ones would suit me?
You would suit all of them, to be honest. It depends on your outfit, but I think that you'd really suit these ones. Okay. You probably can't try them on right now, but I think that the color would just suit you. Yeah, they're so super comfortable, and they can match your tight jeans.
Really
that's what I'm trying to say.
Comfortable too. If I can hold you.
Yep, sure. So these boots are just so functional because they protect you from the rain. They're comfortable, and they're not that hot as well. So that's a really key point.
Usually when I wear them, they're really floppy, but these are quite nice.
Probably not with your dress at the moment, but some casual tight jeans would be perfect.
I'm committing a fashion crime here now.
And if you've got shorter legs like me, then I would recommend boots like these that are quarter length. So come up halfway up your calves. They would be perfect. If you've got legs that are sort of tweed, so if you've got legs that kind of curve outwards or inwards, then probably go for bright patterns. So bright colored ones that will take the attention away from your legs. Now, together with the rain boots, you need an umbrella.
Of course, right?
But these are not just regular umbrellas. These are actually parasols. So they protect you not just from the rain, but also from the sun as well.
Okay, so it works both ways, huh?
Yeah.
So when it's raining, you can bring it out, and when it stops raining, you can still protect yourself from the sun, I suppose, right?
That's right. And also because they come in a variety of different colors, they're not just for old people anymore. Protecting yourself from the sun is actually very, very important. So they come in all different kinds of patterns. There are floral ones, and this one is just a classic red for the regular woman.
And I like how they're so small. You can just put them in your bag.
Really light as well.
Right, really light too, huh? Yeah. Okay, and it comes in so many different patterns and colors. I suppose you could just style it however you want,
Yeah,
right?
whatever suits your outfit.
All right, let's look at some shades, look at some sunglasses because, on a sunny day, your eyes are just, they hurt and you really need a nice pair of sunglasses to
It can be kind of
finalize your look, right?
Yeah, it can be kind of hard to choose your sunglasses. So we might invite our SJ over as our experimentation.
Because our producer were telling us these are unisex, as in like men and women can wear them, right?
Well, most fashion has become like that, interestingly. And SJ, I heard that you were having a bit of trouble finding sunglasses.
I love
to suit your
accessories.
face.
I love shades. And you know what? A lot of times I buy them online and I don't get to try it on. And you can tell, like, I have a very circular face, right? So, I mean, what kind of style do I have to, like, buy online without actually trying it
Circular?
on?
Let me
circular?
see.
Will that make me more circular? I mean, what do I wear?
It's pretty round, I suppose.
The general rule for sunglasses is to go for the opposite of what your actual face shape is. So if you're round, go for angular sort of shades that have very sort of defined edges, and it can be slightly curved if you've got a round face, but just not too much. So these ones are actually mirrored as well. They're very trending at the moment, as you saw in the pre-roll.
Wow.
You look hot, SJ.
Thank you.
007 right there.
Nice too with your, actually this one's look much better because
So
you
both of
match
them
your
mirrored, right?
jeans. Yeah, both of them are mirrored. Each of these come with different color in terms of the flash.
I like
They
these
give you
more.
that sort
Wow.
of G-Dragon accent to your outfit.
You look like a
These are great.
superstar right there.
I like
You
the
look
black.
good.
Yeah, it's very
They
nice.
actually
Hey,
suit
what
you.
about one for me? Maybe
Okay.
for
So for you,
woman.
you've got an egg-shaped face. So you're lucky because
slightly
you
on the
actually
longish
suit.
side.
You actually
Okay.
suit all different kinds of sunglasses, but I'm going to give you these interesting ones. They're clip-ons, so you can actually take the sunglass effect off or just wear it as a normal sunglass as well.
Okay.
So these are kind of trending at the moment, so I might just give these to you to try.
Okay. All right, so
And-
if it's really sunny out there, you can just wear these and voila,
Very
what I
nice.
look. And when you don't want the shades,
Take it off.
take it off if I can get it to work.
Yep.
Ta-da! Right?
Oh, you look
I'm a
very nice with
librarian.
glasses, too.
Oh, thank you. No, so on and off.
Very
On and
nice.
off.
They
That's
suit you
easy.
so well.
No
if you've
rocket
got
science there.
If you've got a triangular face with a pointy chin, then these kind of glasses suit you really well, like very thin, round frames, and the legs being on the halfway of the frame instead of all the way up, so that it draws the attention upwards away from your pointy chin. If you've got a jaw that is kind of square and you want to take your attention away from that, then I recommend to go for ones that have a slight cat effect. So it's kind of like lifted upwards and has a slight round as a round bottom as well. So sunglasses, I mean, there's so many different types, and I do recommend you just to try on the many
Right.
types.
And I see that you're wearing a hat, and hats are a must in the summer. And we have some caps here, and interesting looking.
Something I love as well, hats and
Okay.
sunglasses.
These
All
are
right,
called
let's
snapbacks.
try these on.
These are called snapbacks. They're very trendy at the moment, and they come in all different colors and materials, so they suit any outfit that
SJ,
you've
let's
got.
go shopping. Let's do
SJ, I
some
think
shopping
you would
here.
I'll take all of them.
Yeah, you
Take my part.
choose which
I
one you'd
personally
like.
like
I
this
knew you would
gray
choose that
one.
one.
Such a baseball guy. You
I
just
have
to
so
go
many
for
hats,
a baseball
right?
cap,
Exactly.
right? Boring.
So do I put them forward like
You
this?
can wear them
or,
forward, but
or the back?
have a little bit of attitude, yeah,
bit big. Let
backwards,
me adjust
or a
this a
little
little
bit
bit.
diagonal
I
as well.
remember it used to be really in to fold this part.
Oh, now you can
Upwards.
never do it now, right? You have to keep. Do you have to keep it flat now? Is
No,
that how
you
this
can wear them upwards, and there are caps
Okay.
that actually have some writing on the bottom, so that you kind of just flip it upwards.
Let's have it
on purpose. So the different ways to wear these snapbacks.
Oh, you
and
look
not
like
just
10 years
snapbacks.
younger all of a sudden, SJ.
And it has to be tilted on an angle, not
Like a
straight.
bad boy. Hey, I want to try this on. This is a straw hat.
They are floppy hats. These ones make you look like a movie star. Wow, that looks so
Wow,
good.
you know what? It fits your dress right
It
now.
does too. I'm off to a resort island now. Bye,
Beautiful
guys.
and floppy. Guys can actually pull this off as well.
This?
So there are ones
SJ, wanna
that
give it a try.
maybe
With
you
this,
can try this one.
this can't be unisex, right?
Maybe not the flower necessarily, but no,
goes well
that
with your
works.
That is just
I feel like I have to go fishing right now.
Why not? Right?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so for guys, go for monotone colors and slightly floppy, but the the rim should be slightly smaller.
Okay, so this is
Looks
completely
like a winter
different.
hat, though.
A lot of celebrities are actually pulling this off.
Are you on the run? Are you?
I don't think
running
anybody
away
could pull
from
this off. I
authorities?
can't pull this off, guys.
All right, well, that was a lot of fun looking at different items that you must have this summer. Thank you so much.
I hope that this will help you in your summer wardrobe this season.
Okay, I'm going to wrap up the show with my glasses on today for a change, just because, right? All right, that's just about it for this edition of Korea Today.
All right,
SJ, would you like
tomorrow,
to close the show?
right? Same time,
See you next
7
week.
a.m.
Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.